I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
A wizard.
Modern classics is a term you may have heard before, and when it comes to Harry Potter, that phrase is tattooed on the series like a lightning scar to the forehead. The Harry Potter series became one of, and still is, the most popular book and film franchises of all time. The book started a movement of renewed interest in reading in children and quite a few adults when it hit shelves in '97. That's right, Harry and Friends have been around for a quarter of a century. That feeling of being ancient is going to happen a few times during this episode, so just prepare yourself for that. Today on Fantasizing About Fantasy Films, we're heading to Hogwarts as the latest entry into the wizarding world, The Secrets of Dumbledore, rolls out to theaters. So let's grab the sorting hat and figure out where we belong, as he who must not be named can pop up anywhere while we cast the spell of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Oculus Reparo. That's better, isn't it?
Let me take this opportunity to thank you all for watching Fantasizing About Fantasy Films, and ask that if you enjoyed our shows, please subscribe to our channel right now. Like this video and click on the bell so you can be notified each time a new video goes up. Now, back to the show. The universe of Harry Potter is pretty vast. Part of the appeal of the books and films is a mythology that's well designed, thought out, and has a history that clicks with fantasy fans who love researching and finding connections and surprises. Needless to say, this made the wizarding world guaranteed crack for those of us who love that sort of thing. What this means, though, is there is a lot of stuff here to get through. There are actually 8 Harry Potter films alone, not including the Fantastic Beasts films. So we're going to focus this episode on the first which started it all, The Sorcerer's Stone. It's the film that introduces us all to the major players, for the most part, in the story of Harry Potter and the taste of the universe which it takes place in. Writer J.K. Rowling's story is about as magical a one as you can get when it comes to creating Harry Potter, and also filled with about as much tragedy as the young wizard's story. Part of Rowling's inspiration for the characters came during a long delay while being stuck on a train, such as the Hogwarts Express, for around 4 hours when the 3 lead characters of Harry, Hermione, and Ron popped into her mind. Rowling kept writing the first book, stating that the story and its creation helped her deal with a number of tragic events that she was experiencing. Her mother passed away, her marriage fell apart, and she was left a single mother with no employment all in the span of a short while. She also had a miscarriage. Rowling channeled the emotional whirlwind of her life's experience into the story which would eventually lead her from being broke to being worth nearly $1 billion. The Sorcerer's Stone was originally released in Europe as Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, but when it came to North America, the decision was made that the title of the book sounded, quote-unquote, too boring for kids in the States. Philosophy? What reader would possibly want to hear about that? Hence, you'll see a different title in the book depending on where it was printed. This would actually be the case with the film as well, which also meant certain scenes had to be reshot for those releases, where actors would be filmed saying Philosopher's Stone and then shoot the scene saying Sorcerer's Stone.
Nicholas Flamel is the only known maker of the Philosopher's Stone.
The what?
Nicholas Flamel is the only known maker of the Sorcerer's Stone.
The what?
Early on, Steven Spielberg was attached to direct the film and would actually work on it for about half a year before leaving. The Harry Potter books at the time were massively popular, and you can only imagine a Spielberg version of them. It may have literally broke the world. We'll never know, though. Another name that, according to him, creator J.K. Rowling wanted to take on the project was Terry Gilliam, a man whose work we've featured on this show before. According to Gilliam, when he was interviewed by EW, J.K. Rowling and the producer wanted me. Then wiser people, studio heads, prevailed. I was the clear choice. At one point they approached Alan Parker and he said, "Why are you talking to me? Gilliam is the guy you should have doing this." But I knew I was never going to get the job. Looking back, again, we can only imagine what a Gilliam-built Hogwarts would be like, but we can pretty much assume he'd have gone even darker than the film actually did, which is pretty dark. Chris Columbus, who had a history of family-friendly films under his belt, including Home Alone, Mrs. Doubtfire, as well as having written Gremlins and The Goonies, just to name a few, got the job.
Goonies never say die!
He wasn't guaranteed it, though, and actually went into battle to get the spot. having given an hour-long monologue about why he should be chosen and writing a massive director's version of the script to show his version of the film. Columbus, much like many adults, had been told to read the novels by his child and fell in love with them and was determined to get the gig. The film would follow the first book, which introduces Harry Potter as the beleaguered young man who lives in a closet under a staircase. Orphaned due to the death of his parents, he is raised by the Muggle family of his aunt and uncle, along with their son, who bullies and abuses Harry mercilessly. The Dursleys hate, and I mean hate, magic.
There's no such thing as magic.
But odd things keep happening with Harry, and eventually the truth of his parents and destiny are revealed, as he is the boy who lived. Harry's life and fate are tied together with the evil wizard Voldemort, the one who killed his parents and attempted to, and failed, to kill Harry. Harry Potter heads to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry to learn magic and to follow his destiny with the help of his friends, Ron and Hermione. Along his journey, he will be helped knowingly by the giant Hagrid and the head of Hogwarts, Professor Dumbledore. Unknowingly, he will be assisted by the mysterious Professor Snape, who he will soon find out has close ties with Harry's mother. Filming would begin in the UK in the year 2000. John Williams would create the iconic score for the film. Williams wouldn't be the only tie to Star Wars, as ILM worked on some of the many special effects in the movie, along with other production houses. One hard rule for casting was required by J.K. Rowling, and that was the cast had to all be British. And so for Robin Williams, who at one time really wanted to be Hagrid, that was not to be. Luckily for everyone else, though, the casting of the film was actually quite perfect. And in the case of Robbie Coltrane, who did get to play Hagrid, was specifically who the creator wanted in the first place. Honestly, I don't think I could see anyone else as Hagrid. He was truly made for the role. Daniel Radcliffe, who was cast as Harry, made his acting debut as the lead character in a BBC production of David Copperfield, another book with the lead character's name in the title. Radcliffe brought the wide-eyed wonder of Harry, as well as the moments where you could see that bit of the dark in him. You couldn't really blame him, though, considering what the Dursleys put him through. The role would wind up changing his life, as the film would for nearly everyone involved. Emma Watson would be Hermione, the Muggle-born friend of Harry, who is really the brains of the operation. Watson was fantastic in the role, and would inspire young women around the world not to be ashamed to love learning, and to embrace being smart and savvy.
You've got dirt on your nose, by the way. Did you know? Just there.
Rupert Grint would be cast as Harry and Hermione's best friend, Ron Weasley. Another first-time major picture role, as was Watson, Grint brought a lovable goofiness to Ron.
Shut up, Harry.
We got to see the progression of Ron Weasley from a rather cowardly kid to a hero as he defends his friends and joins the fight against he who must not be named. While those three are the main protagonists in the film, the world of Harry Potter would eventually have nearly every well-known and iconic British actor within the series in either a major role or as a supporting character. Dame Maggie Smith, John Cleese, John Hurt, Warwick Davis, and over the course of the film's series, many, many more. Scenes were shot of late great comic actor Rick Mile as Peeves the Poltergeist in Sorcerer's Stone, but these were cut from the release. But I want to take a moment to talk about two specific actors who are sadly no longer with us, but are legends in the world of film and in this specific series. Richard Harris was cast as Dumbledore, the wizard who seemingly knows everything and helps place Harry on his path. Harris refused the role until his granddaughter finally told him she wouldn't talk to him ever again if he didn't take the part. The legendary drinker and wild man of cinema, Harris's gravelly voice and demeanor of mischief was spot on for the role.
What happened down in the dungeons between you and Professor Quirrell is a complete secret. So, naturally, the whole school knows.
While Dumbledore wasn't Harris's final role, it was quite close to it. When he passed, fans were devastated. Actor Michael Gambon would step into the robes of Albus Dumbledore in the following films, but I really did love Harris's performance.
Mr. Potter.
And now let's talk about my favorite character, and that of many fans, Severus Snape. Alan Rickman was quite simply born for Snape. The actor took this role, the books, and the films to heart as much as Snape did his love for Lily. That little secret was something that only Rickman knew for quite a while, as Rowling let him in on it before it was ever known in the books or to the public at large. That secret knowledge gave Rickman the motivation for the character and for the way he reacted and emoted during the films. Alan Rickman gave everything to Snape, and his performance makes these films, at least to me. Severus Snape is one of the most tragic and heroic characters of the last many years, and for a YA series, his life, motivations, and ultimate fate are incredibly complex and sad. Rickman embraced all of it, and would continue supporting the books and the films until his untimely death in 2016 from cancer, something he would also keep secret from nearly everyone. There will never be another like Alan Rickman, whose voice could shake the rafters and who you could truly believe would defend you against any creature of the dark arts. And we'll love him always.
Really? After all this time?
Always.
There are a number of set pieces within Sorcerer's Stone that are rather unforgettable, such as the first time we get to see Quidditch, the main sports game in the wizarding world. Quidditch became such a sensation due to it actually being a designed entire game, sort of a hybrid of broom flying, dodgeball, and soccer, that it inspired real-life Quidditch to start happening all around the world, sans the flying broomsticks part. There are still broomsticks being ridden, though. There's even a wheelchair version of the sport. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is surprisingly dark, as I stated before. For a children's film, it hits about the level of some of the dark Disney movies of the 80s, which are pretty extraordinary. He Who Must Not Be Named is slaughtering and drinking the blood of unicorns to prolong his life, for instance, or the disturbing revelation of what is under Professor Quirrell's turban,
Harry Potter.
the parasitic head of Voldemort, which originally reminded me of the Legend of Edward Mordrake, but now makes me think of Malignant because, of course it does. All of this makes you realize, especially as the films progress, that the magical world of Harry Potter is not a safe and cuddly one. It starts off with Harry's parents sacrificing themselves to keep him safe from Voldemort, and doesn't actually let up from there. We quickly see being a child doesn't mean you're protected from the darkness.
I think it is clear that we can expect great things from you. After all, he who must not be named did great things. Terrible. Yes, but great.
I think it's safe to say that Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was a hit. With a budget of $125 million, it grossed over $1 billion. That's billion with a B. The franchise would only keep growing, as would the celebrity of the three young leads. Numerous toys, collectibles, lots of wands, and of course books and video games would be made. The wizarding world would take over our own. Theme parks would have entire sections dedicated to recreating parts of Harry's universe, and every Halloween since has had more than a few Hogwarts robes trick-or-treating. But Harry Potter and his creator aren't without some debate. No, I'm not going to delve into all of the J.K. Rowling drama or all the happy fun times happening with the new franchise. I'm sure you already know all of that. I'm talking about the fact that Harry Potter isn't as original an idea as you may think. Well, the story of a young child who has nothing and suddenly discovers they are special and are rescued from their sad circumstances isn't really new in the realms of books. Specifically, the idea behind Harry Potter is really familiar to a few things that came before it. Spellcasting 101 was a computer game released in 1990 and created by the legendary game developer Steve Maritzky. Maritzky actually worked with Douglas Adams on the PC game for Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Warcraft Adventures. The game followed a teenage geeky kid in glasses named Ernie Eaglebeak in an alternate reality where magic has taken the place of science. He goes to a highly lauded school called Sorcerer's University, and you, playing as Ernie, learn magic and go on all sorts of wacky, sometimes adult, adventures. It's a text adventure game and features funny, unique names for other characters like Snow Bunny and Rottenwood. The game specifically always stood out to me as something that was uncanny when it came to being close to Harry's story, albeit if you toss Potter into a blender with Leisure Suit Larry. I mean, look at that box cover. But while Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone may not be completely unique in this world, we can't deny the impact and importance of the book and the film. Harry Potter gave children and adults a new mythology and universe to explore and to learn. It inspired a massive return to the printed page and gave parents and their young ones a new bedtime story ritual and way to bond. It was filled with characters not only we fell in love with, but so did the actors. We got to see the stars of this film grow up before our eyes. It breaks my heart to realize that Rupert Grint actually has a kid of his own now. Or actually, that sound may just have been my hip. But yes, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone, is actually old enough now to drink. So, grab a butterbeer, or something stronger, and let's make a toast to Harry, Snape, and whomever that next poor Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher may be. They'll need all the help they can get.
Yeah, it's strange to be going home, doesn't it?
I'm not going home. Not really.